The dogs have been pounded. Animal control has been called. We have got the victory on this.
The 26 points were not just scored by the offense. It was the turnovers, special teams. For the first time in quite a while, I think when all three phases of your team play better than the opponents, you're going to win football games. Today is a great example of what that looks like in an NFL game.
Mark, so much has happened since the last time we talked.
Yep.
Purdy came back. They had a terrible Monday Night Football game, yet they still won. But thankfully, in our return, we are celebrating a Niners victory, and it's even that much sweeter knowing the Rams got beat today, just a little bit closer to the NFC West title. The dogs have been pounded. Animal control has been called. We have got the victory on this.
And as you mentioned, the leaders in the NFC West, the Los Angeles Rams, they lost in Carolina, the team that looked so bad here in Santa Clara versus the Niners. That loss is important because now the Rams are sitting at 9-3 with those 3 losses. The Niners also have 9 wins. They have the extra game that they've played already because they haven't had their bye. That's coming up now. Sterling, we can talk about like the future, I think, throughout the show tonight or today. Because you have a bye, then you have the Titans. You should feel pretty good about yourselves. You have a great chance to be 10-4 after the next football game that you play, which is 2 weeks from now. Today, though, was a game really, really important. I was not expecting an 18-point Niner win. I was expecting a Niner win, but one that was maybe by 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 points, something along that line. Because I felt that the weather was going to be a big factor. It was cold, it was windy, but you didn't really have any precipitation, which I think helped the 49ers in this game. And then what the defense did and what special teams did, they set the offense up for success in this game, Sterling. The offense made the big plays in the big moments to help them score points and win this football game. But man, what that defense did and what special teams did really set the offense up for success.
I don't think, had you asked me, hey, Niners win, and they scored 26 points against what looks like the best defense in football. And they hold Myles Garrett to 1 sack, and he had a good game, but it just still wasn't the Myles Garrett 3-sack dominant performance like it was against the Raiders a week ago. I thought San Francisco had one of their best games of the season. It was an all-encompassing, all 3 phases of the team went out there and won you. Defense got takeaway, special teams got you field position, and the offense capitalized when necessary. And these are the games that have haunted Kyle Shanahan's teams in years prior. You go back to 2023. They lose a game in Cleveland. Now, that year didn't cost them too much, but they've lost these late season kind of clunkers on the road, cold. How's Brock Purdy going to perform? And they came out, and it wasn't pretty, but it didn't need to be pretty.
No.
They came out there, they won the football game, they played their game. They didn't have great run defense. We can add that in there, but
true.
They got timely takeaways and did the job. You don't have to win pretty every single Sunday. They won ugly last Monday against the Panthers and won a rather easier game today against Cleveland, knowing the final score. And I think Niner fans should feel pretty pleased. Brock Purdy played so much better today. It might be his best game back, minus that Cardinals game 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, talking about this game leading up into it, I was talking about how if you're like waiting for Brock to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, like if that's what you need to be impressed by Brock, then you're going to have to wait another couple of weeks, because that's not happening in this game. Like,
it's not going to happen.
No matter how the game played out, it was not going to happen that way. But you're right. I felt Brock had himself a pretty good game. Now, we can also say your 3 touchdown drives were a 16-yard drive, a 32-yard drive, and an 18-yard drive. And it was because the defense and special teams. One, it was the long punt return by Sky Moore in the first quarter that set up the first score. Then it was the turnover on down / fumble on 4th and short by the Browns. That was a good stop by the defense, one to even force that 4th down. A little bit lucky on the fumbled snap by Harold Fannin, but the defense made a big play in a big moment. And then the other one wasn't necessarily a great special teams play by you, but a bad special teams play by Cleveland. They muffed the punt. Darrell Luter, though, in the right spot, immediately recovers it. That gives you short field once again. But we can look even deeper, Sterling, into what happened on those drives. Yes, they were short drives. And yes, it kind of feels like scoring a touchdown in those spots is like par. Like, that's not amazing. It's what you should do. You should score touchdowns on those kinds of possessions, even when you're in an environment like Cleveland versus that defense. But on seemingly every big 3rd and 6, 7, 8, 9, the Niners converted, and they used those conversions to turn those drives into touchdowns. Otherwise, those might be field goals, and who knows, this might be an entirely different football game. The way the Browns' offense was going, the Niners are probably going to win this, even if they set up for more field goals than they ultimately did. But it truly was a three-phase victory because the defense and special teams gave the Niners good field position, and the offense, although it was difficult, they took advantage and they turned those three into touchdowns.
Well, that's how you win games like this, when you know you're playing probably the best front four, front seven in all of football this year. You have the Grim Reaper and Myles Garrett haunting all your tackles on the interior of the offensive line as well. You just know that it's not going to be easy, that you're going to have to fight for every blade of grass against this defense. And if the special teams and the offense of Cleveland's going to make a mistake, we have to be able to capitalize. And I thought San Francisco, for maybe the holes you can poke in the offensive plan and the execution at times, I thought when Cleveland made mistakes, San Francisco made it a point to pounce on them. And you held a team that I know played the Raiders last weekend, and there's some hype with Shedeur Sanders. You held that team to 8 points. And that 8th point was because you had a 12th man penalty on special teams, which... Don't love that, but okay, whatever. You were almost down 8-7 at halftime, but you survived and you pushed on. But to say that, and if anyone's out there saying that, San Francisco didn't play great football, they scored the most points on this Browns defense in 3 weeks. They scored more points on this Browns defense than teams like the Steelers could, the Vikings could, the Packers could. This is not the Rams. It's not like the Browns are giving up 26 points per game. They walked into today giving up 15 points a game, and you scored 26. That is something to walk away feeling proud about and capitalizing on. And I think that, for a unit that looks so lost offensively against the Panthers, throwing 3 interceptions, to bounce back, turn the ball over 0 times, play a clean game throughout, that was the biggest difference maker in this game. And kudos to Brock Purdy and company to coming out there in Cleveland and holding the fort down for this team.
Yeah, you just had to win the game. It didn't really matter how it happened. You set it off the very jump. You don't need style points. It ain't got to be pretty. And you just have to win football games. You have 9 wins now. You are inching close to, obviously 10 wins and 11 wins. You feel really good about making the playoffs if you get to that 11-win number. Very likely going to be the case in the NFC. You get 11 wins, you're going to go to the postseason. The Niners have a game against the Titans off of a bye, and then you've got some tougher games the rest of the way. But you're looking at having to just hold serve with the Titans game and then win one of the final 3, and you're likely going to be a postseason team. So today was a really, really big step in the right direction. And we can talk about 26 points, most points the Browns have given up since yada, yada, yada. We can say this was a really good display by the Niner offense. They were good in moments, Sterling, but we also got to be honest that this was... The 26 points were not just scored by the offense. It was the whole team that was contributing to that. It was the turnovers. It was special teams. And this was, for the first time in quite a while, I think, where you could say all 3 phases of the game, none of them maybe had an A-plus game, although the defense was pretty close to that. It's hard because Shedeur Sanders is not a good quarterback, and the Browns are a terrible offensive team. And that was a game that was designed for defense more than offense, of course, given everything going on with the elements and what's happening in Cleveland. But this was a game where all 3 phases of the game played a positive game. They all carried their own weight. And when you get that, it doesn't really matter the talent level on your team. When all 3 phases of your team play better than the opponents on all 3 phases of their game, you're going to win football games. And that's the truest example, I think, of a team win. Today is a great example of what that looks like in an NFL game.
Well, I think more to that, it's kind of a testament to how important special teams is in the NFL. We saw how terrible this unit was last year and how much it cost a bad team a lot of close games that maybe would have changed their record last season. Then you're seeing this year how good a special teams unit can change the outcome of games. Sky Moore has just been a tremendous find. There's been some blips early in this season once he came over from Kansas City, but
last month though he's been really good. Yeah.
He's one of the best return men in football the last month or so, and he's constantly getting San Francisco into great field positioning. Where they go back to the 98-yard near kick return touchdown against the Cardinals, and today kind of sparking the offense and getting the offense started against Cleveland on a big punt return this afternoon. But Thomas Morstead too, man. The punts have been on point. He's been phenomenal today. You go from Jake Moody and Isaac Guerrero last year, and whoever else was Ronnie Bell doing punt returns, kick returns, like to Pinheiro, and now Matt Gay as their reserve kicker, and then you have Morstead and Sky Moore. This is a massive upgrade, and it's been a big reason why San Francisco's won their last 3 games, and the big reason why today against Cleveland they were able to face that great defense and get a few punches in and kind of get the victory.
Yeah, absolutely.